So, a question I see asked a lot is should you cold call or should you text between those two? Now, we're not talking about PPC, PPL, like that's a whole nother thing. If you just have two options available to you, cold call or text, which one do you do and why? And the reality is, either of them can and will work. It's not is one better than the other. Some will argue texting is better, some will argue cold calling is better, and some will tell you don't do either, and some will tell you do both. All of which are correct answers in specific situations, depending on your goals, what your budget is, what you're trying to achieve. So there is no right answer. But as far as cold call versus text, here's the thing, whether you cold call or text, you can have success with either one, but you need to go deep. Okay. Don't try to like scratch the surface of cold calling and do it for a while. And you don't really master, you just kind of do it without really understanding the nuts and bolts, understand the numbers, the results, how it relates to the list, what kind of response rate you're getting. Is that good? Is that not? And so on and so forth. And if you get into any cold caller system, you'll see they got these very detailed reports, at least most of them do, that can give you some really detailed analysis to help you understand how well you're doing. Okay, you got to know that stuff. You got to like really dive in. You don't just pick up the phone and start calling people. I mean, you can, but you're not really mastering what goes into it, how to train people. And you could have the whole system right. And another part of cold calling is the quality of the communication. If somebody's coming in there and they don't talk particularly well, and you've got the perfect system, it's still not going to work out well. So you got to dive into the details and go deep with it and really master each piece of the process. Conversely, if you do texting, it's the same thing. You've got systems out there that they're set up to do texting, whether it's one off or in bulk or whatever it is. But you get into the words, the wording matters. Obviously, you got to have the opt outs, but if you word something a specific way, that might be a problem. You got to word things a different way. How do you break it up? How do you make sure that messaging is effective without stepping on rules that you don't need to be stepping on, right? And on and on. Sure, you can just go in there and do it, but the results probably are not going to be great. And that's typically what happens with either method. People just keep cold calling, they keep texting, and it's kind of a set it and forget it. And that's not how it works. Both of those worlds, you got to go deep. They continue to evolve. Rules get updated. Of course, there's TCPA, which is a whole nother thing that you need to be aware of. How does that work? A lot of people don't really know how it works, and they get on social media and go blah with information without really knowing the rules. Okay, so you need to know that stuff and dive in and really understand it. Here's the bottom line, whether you cold call or text, it's not is it better or worse than the other technique. It's are you mastering your craft? Master your craft whichever way you go. And if you don't choose either and do something else, fine. Master that craft. Instead of trying to do 10 things at 10% effort, pick one and master it. You'll get much better results that way. Good luck. And by the way, subscribe. Lots of great information out here on the site, no charge. Feel free to connect with me. Would love to meet you. See you.